And with that, I will do a roll call. Bev Bates,
Here.
Hannah Schaefer,
Here.
Gordon Shaw,
Here.
Gwen Nabad, here.
Here.
Okay, and with that, I invite any public comments. Okay. And I would need a motion to approve the minutes from October 6th, 2025.
I will
So
move.
moved.
I'll
second it then.
One way or the other. Do it with what you will, Keith.
And we'll take a roll on that. Bev Bates,
Yes.
Hannah Schaefer,
Yep.
Gordon Shaw,
Yes.
Gwen Nabad, yes. And so that leaves us to our next discussion, which is to discuss the recent housing study from Wayfinders. And so I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look at that.
Gwen, can I give some context about that?
Sure.
Yeah, so I was reached out to by someone from the another partnership in the area in Amherst, and they wanted to come to the meeting and discuss it and talk, maybe consider having a forum to discuss it within the partnership, but also the partnerships, but also bring the public involved in seeing, from this report the Wayfinders did that includes Hampshire County and Hampden County, all these different, putting some more data behind some of the housing trends.
Okay.
And when we set the agenda, Gwen, Bev and I, it was all set. It was enthusiasm from all of us to invite them over. And then when I sent out the agenda, confirmed it with the person, they said they couldn't make the meeting.
Okay.
That's and also that they kind of retracted a little bit what they were saying. Maybe we could just go to something that Wayfinders is doing. So started off as more of a collaborative thing. Maybe, this would be a good idea, but now it already sending out the agenda. So if there's something we want to do internally, but I don't know if there's other meetings now that Wayfinders is having about this report. So it's kind of,
Okay.
yeah. I felt deflated after that, so I don't know where to go with that.
Okay, so I guess that kind of changes things in terms of, talking about that, unless anybody has anything to talk about in regards to the recent report or any thoughts on it. It's really in depth. Go ahead, Bev.
Yeah, this is not on the report. As you say, it's very in depth and in my mind, not surprising, but certainly the data is useful in terms of thinking about how to kind of make the case, if you will.
Right.
I think, Keith, correct me if I'm wrong, you had indicated that the Amherst Housing Partnership also wanted to talk to us?
No, that was the group that wanted to be here for this meeting, and then
For this meeting.
yeah, we kind of retracted what they were going to say.
In any event.
That was. Sorry, Bev.
Go ahead.
I think what you're thinking about is the Housing Trust Group.
Oh, Housing Trust. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep. In any event, I do think opportunities to talk with similar organizations and other communities in this county would be an interesting thing to do, because it is a regional problem and it's a huge problem, and sort of comparing notes on strategy and whatnot, to me at least, would be interesting. So my brain just connected those two events.
Right. Yeah, so thank you so much for that. And I think another thing I'm thinking of is like, are there legislative actions that we should be writing for, that we should be prepared, better prepared for, that are coming up? Somehow that we can look ahead to see what's going to be going through the legislature. If we can, support some stuff that would support, housing and everything, related to housing, from houselessness to, you know, building more housing. So, yeah.
So I missed the tail end of what Keith was saying. Were you proposing that we set another meeting date and have a regional housing partnership meeting to talk about strategies? Is that where this ended? I got distracted by my wife coming in.
Uh, that was the proposal from Amherst to maybe do something like that. But then they, uh, after I can kind of confirm them to be here for this meeting, it sounded like they were not as interested in doing that. Maybe if we wanted to, we could just go to the Wayfinders meetings, but I don't see a list of meetings from Wayfinders to discuss this at the moment.
Okay. I think the only
Forgive
other
me
local,
for confusing things, Keith. I thought Wayfinders was coming tonight, not Amherst. So that's why the two are joined in my brain.
Gotcha.
Okay.
the only other housing partnership that I'm aware of in Hampshire County is East Hampton. It's us in East Hampton and
Yeah.
Amherst. And for those, I've been around a while. We have done joint meetings before. It's been a few years, probably preceding all of your um, involvement
Right.
with the partnership.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know I mean, I guess the question, if we met, what would come out of it? I mean, we already knew what was needed. It's just a question now of what can we do to help push forward more housing development.
Right.
Indirectly, though, there's this petition going around to get rent control back on the ballot. So that's adjacent to this. It's not, doesn't solve the problem, but
Yes.
uh,
Okay. There is that going around to get that on the ballot is rent stabilization.
mhm.
Um, there are a couple of others. If people have read Joe Comerford's recent newsletters on Senate and House bills on the homeless Bill of Rights, and also there's some Senate bills and House bills in there for aging populations and a couple other things that you could probably find on Joe Comerford's site. I think there's like a few more days to write in support of these particular bills. So I think I wrote another one last night. I forget what it was though.
Mm.
So I guess the question would be like how to take this new knowledge, based off, what Wayfinders and the Donahue Institute found, and, just be alert to, just working with developers, and, also just finding ways to better target who needs housing in the area. There was something that Bev, not to put you on the spot, Bev, but you had mentioned something interesting about the lottery. I don't know if we can talk about that or.
Actually, not so much the lottery as I'm on the Valley CDC Real Estate Committee, and they were talking about the results of their most recent rent up at the Bridge Street property. And it surprised me because of how heavily weighted in favor of single or small households. And I just raised it because we were chatting about life here in Northampton. And, you know, in my housing background, which is apparently somewhat dated, larger families were the population to solve for, not exclusively, but and the
Right.
numbers are heavily weighted. So what I had suggested to Gwen is that if we wanted to invite Valley CDC staff to come and talk to us about their rent up experience in the last couple of developments, it just might be useful in thinking about really some of the more precise issues that go into housing strategy. The other one that I find very interesting, and I'm not sure what I think about it all, is the movement to reduce parking requirements, some of which has already transpired.
Mhm.
So it was just an idea about some data that we might find interesting and worth talking about.
All right.
And it was a lottery, a hugely
Yeah.
well-attended lottery, a couple thousand people.
A
Oh,
couple thousand.
when
Okay.
did that take place, Bev? Because I know people who put in their names. It's been,
Yeah, well, I think they're still sorting it, Gordon.
they haven't announced the selections yet.
No, nope.
Okay. It looks ready. I drive by
It
it
does
every
look
day.
ready. It's all painted up.
Yeah.
They're working
Yeah.
on the
I've been out
landscaping and
there. Yeah. It's
No,
pretty
I think that's
amazing.
getting very close. They just switched property management companies, and I think that's created some.
Mhm.
Hannah, you have a question?
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with Bev, what you had mentioned about parking. Can you say more about that? I didn't know what that was in reference to.
The city council just passed a bill to reduce the parking requirements for multifamily developments from, I'm going to embarrass myself by saying I can't remember if it was 2 or 1.5 spaces per unit. It's down to 1.
Oh,
And
I
it
see.
was
Okay, so I see.
wrapped in a whole large conversation, picture Main Street stuff, right? About trying to become more pedestrian friendly, trying to reduce the number of cars, particularly downtown,
Mm.
trying to reinforce bicycle use, etc. You know, and it's a complicated issue, obviously, especially if you're with a family with kids and don't really want to take a lift to get your groceries. But in any
Yeah.
event, I'm not advocating that we have the conversation tonight, just that it's all kind of connected in some ways.
Right.
Right. Thanks for giving the context.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've always raised the issue of not enough large family housing because I see that all the time
Right.
anecdotally in my work. And I've mentioned it every time we see a developer come in, and it's heavily, heavily focused on studios, 1 bedrooms, and a few 2 bedrooms. But there's plenty of families out there that exceed that, especially if you have 2 children with of opposite sexes, and your voucher allows you to have, that's how that, when you do Section 8, it's like based on both the ages of children and then gender, and then of course household size is the key
I
thing.
I
But
agree.
they don't build enough, and these people have the hardest time finding housing,
Right. I
Well,
agree.
that's the
and
thing
they
is,
end up in shelter.
what's the cause and effect, right? If you're only building the biggest number of two, the biggest bedroom size is 2, you're not going to get a lot of 3-bedroom families applying. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember having 5 kids and making it somehow really squeezed in with 3 bedrooms.
Well,
It was really hard to find apartments of that size available that were decent.
But the developers seem to say, no, that's what the need is. I don't know. They have data that suggests otherwise, but it doesn't line up with my experience.
I hear what you're saying, Gordon. And I've seen that too. A lot of families having to not being able to stay, in Northampton.
I mean, we know of 2 new, Prospect Place is just about to open up. That was a big one. And we know of 2 more that are in the pipeline. The one on Crafts, yet to break ground. And then of course the old probate court building is being torn down.
Right.
So those are 2 other big ones. But Keith, do you know, is there any other development in the pipeline that we know from our friends that do all of this building? Wayfinders, Valley,
No, not that I know. I mean, they're
GCP.
pretty busy at the moment.
Yeah.
But we could find some property to dispossess. I would be all about it, you know?
Yeah,
Obviously, crafts is not going to be about large units.
right.
No.
And neither
And I
is the
think
one on King Street.
King Street, no,
King Street has, I think, a couple or 3 or 4 3 bedrooms.
handful.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I wonder um, if we want to take advantage of the fact that there'll be some new faces on the city council soon,
Mhm.
to revisit the whole issue of, what's our role and what's our advocacy urge, and with whom do we want to be speaking, and, armed with what kind of general sense of uh, 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 what needs to happen. I feel like it's even harder to figure out how you get there given what's happening in the country at large.
Mhm.
Um, but it's certainly worth a discussion. I don't know that the city council is going to have people on it who feel very differently about affordable housing than those who have come before, but it is possible, and
Mhm.
be nice to get in on the ground floor.
Right. Okay. Anybody have anything to add? Um, okay, with that, I'm going to move on to any business not otherwise anticipated. And so now, actually, Hannah, I got an email from you today on the updates. So we're still working on that.
Oh, just about with the resources list that I was working on.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It might have just sent like an automated email as I was working on accepting suggestions. So
Okay.
I think it's pretty much ready for me to format. Keith and Gwen, thank you for your suggestions. I realized some of my information was really outdated. So I think what I'll do is kind of format it nicely and then resend it out to everybody to make sure that, just have other eyes on checking phone numbers and addresses and making sure everything's up to date. And then, I mean, then there's a bigger question of like, what comes next? Like, do we seek a grant for printing? We have to reach out to local organizations, but it won't take me too long to format it first. So I figure as long as everybody's okay with me going ahead and doing that work, then the pamphlet will be sort of done and ready to show.
Great.
Did that go out to everybody? Because I don't remember seeing, I remember that you bringing it up at the last meeting, but I don't remember seeing an e-copy of it.
It should have, but I'm happy to send it out again. So yeah, still
I'm
still would
happy to
love
take a look at it
feedback.
because I do a lot of that with my work for resources for people that don't get legal help. We do a lot with having alternative resources for people.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Gordon. I will should I send it to Gwen or Keith and then you send it out to everybody, or can I just send it out to everybody on the partnership?
I guess you can send it to me and I can send it to everyone. It's probably maybe
Okay,
easier.
great.
Send it with the minutes and stuff.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah, for doing that. It's getting there.
It would
Okay.
it would be good for us to have, a little, I feel like a little project that we can kind of see through
Uh-huh.
to the end. It feels like a good time to have a win in the
Yeah,
world. So
right,
that would be
right.
nice. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Does anybody else have anything unanticipated that we might not have caught on to? No. And so that's it. So that leaves us with a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Thank you. Okay, and
Have a
we'll
good
do
evening, folks.
do we do a roll call on that?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Don't need to.
okay, thank you.